Okay, I'm going to just be kind of walking you through my final project, my lesson plan. And this is directed towards 7th and 8th graders who are in the learning support classroom for English. Um, I'm looking at probably taking a typical class period, 40 minutes. The goals of the lesson are I want them to work with a partner just to practice writing like thorough instructions. Their instructions will then be read on VoiceThread and turn those into steps and images for the reader to follow. And the main reason I want to do this as well is not just to give them practice writing clearly, but I want them to be able to use VoiceThread as a means to practice their speaking and reading fluency. A lot of my students struggle with that. So below here are my standards, and here are my materials. My students will need journals, computer access, a camera or phone, the choice of illustration, so that could be they can draw them themselves, they can make them on the computer, they can use their own photos, or they can even find like Google images. I decided to let kids work with a partner of their choice. Knowing my students, I think that, this should be okay. If there's any issues, like I do have sometimes, I can repair them, but I think they'll be okay to work with a buddy. So what we're going to do first is they're going to start with a quick write in their journals. And I'm just going to ask them, have you ever had to give someone directions or teach them how to do something? And were there any obstacles that maybe they didn't predict? Have they ever had someone give them really bad directions or try to teach them something that maybe they couldn't understand, and what made it better? So my purpose for this quick write is I really want them to stop and consider instructions and how it affects them on a day-to-day basis. I think everyone's been given terrible instructions, and I think everyone's been asked to give instructions. So being on both ends of that, I think, is important for them to kind of spend some time thinking about before we launch into our main activity. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look over some of the manuals, and I brought two in, and they talk about the differences and what sets them apart. And as a class, we're going to try to determine who the target audience is, the clarity and the purpose of each manual. So I'm going to show you really quick the two manuals that I chose. This one is an instruction manual for an LG refrigerator. And I mean, this was confusing for me to read, but I think 7th and 8th graders will really be dumbfounded when they read this or try to read it. And the second one, this is just basic instructions for a flip video camera. And this one seemed a little easier to follow. I'm very curious too, actually, to see if the students think that the flip video camera is easier because it also relates to them more. I'm sure they aren't using LG refrigerators or having to put them together. So number one, their purpose. What's the reason for the instructions? These are all questions that they're going to have to answer regarding the manuals that I'm giving them. Audience, who are the instructions directed toward? So who might be reading about LG refrigerators? Who might be reading about video flip phones? Language, is there anything they didn't understand? Are the instructions clear? Does it work with the audience? Appearance, how do the instructions look? Are they easy to follow? And basically the good and the bad. What do you like? What do you dislike? Were they easy to understand or not? Were they clear? So after we discuss this and they work with their group and then we come back and discuss what we thought, we are going to watch my VoiceThread model for what I want their finished product to look like. So I'll show you that right now.
I'm going to teach you how to do laundry in 7 easy steps. Step 1. Sort your laundry into 2 different piles. Here we have whites or lights, and down here we have the darker colors. Step 2. Select a pile of clothes and put them into the washing machine. Make sure to only fill the washing machine until it's about 3/4 of the way full. Step 3. Take your detergent and fill up a cap and put it in the washing machine. If you want to add fabric softener, now is the time to do so. Step 4. Close the lid and adjust the settings. For darker colors, wash in cold water. For light colors, wash in warmer water. Step 5. When the washer is finished running, transport the wet clothes into the dryer. Now's the time to insert dryer sheets if you desire. Step 6. Make sure the dryer screen is clear of any lint. Step 7. Close the dryer and adjust the settings. Press start.
Okay, so that's it. That is just a very simple explanation for how to do laundry. And I wanted them to choose something simple that they could easily explain. So after seeing that, they're going to pick their partner and a topic, and they're going to be responsible for writing these detailed instructions in just like 5 to 7 steps. And I want them to include an image just like I did. When they're finished, their product's going to be put on VoiceThread, and we're going to watch them in class, and I'm also going to encourage the other students to comment on them. Below here is the grading rubric that I'm going to be using to assess them. So here we're looking at 4 main purposes that I'm looking for that they kind of are hitting on the head here. Purpose, meaning that whenever I'm looking at their project, I know exactly what they're doing and it's very clear. Their audience, is it clear who the audience is directed at? Visual appearance, did they make this easy? Did they make it nice? Is it, visually appealing? And speaking, can I hear them? Do they use appropriate grammar and pace? I'm looking for all of that. And that is how they're going to be assessed. And then whenever they're finished, we're just going to discuss any of the problems maybe they ran into while they were writing their instructions. And not only that, but by having the other students in the class watch the videos, they're going to be able to comment and say, hey, step 3 was a little confusing. Maybe you guys should try saying this, or, maybe they did a really great job and they think it's easy to do. So that is my final project.